Next is the classic rectangular 6 with a cutting point. Unlike the connected shapes, black occupies the marked point, reducing the liberties of both white chains. In ordinary rectangular 6, the surrounding white stones are connected. Here the marked black stone cuts them into 2 chains, so the liberty count of each chain must be tracked separately. White can live with either of these moves, but the jump is cleaner. It tightens black's outside liberties and leaves no follow-up weakness. A passive connection still leaves an attachment to answer later, so it costs an extra move. The jump repairs everything at once. A passive connection leaves the attachment and costs white another move later. For black to kill, both center points still look vital. Let us test them separately. Black plays here first. Now the effect of the cutting point becomes clear. White can no longer push here. If white does, black cuts the stones apart and kills them. If white can only connect, white is forced into a bad rectangular 6 shape, leaving bulky 5 inside. After black's placement, the white group in the upper right is dead. This is the tight liberty version. But if black plays the other center point, white blocks and the result changes. Going right fails because white can give atari. This way, black takes the ko first, going left leads to a throw-in and another ko. Either way, it becomes ko, so A is better. Now look at the upper left. In the upper right position, the 3 outside stones had tight liberties, so black's placement killed white unconditionally. One extra outside liberty changes the result. With that liberty, black's 2-2 attachment fails. White clamps. Black can no longer cut, white gives atari, and both white chains have enough liberties. Black must use the other placement. After white answers, black must be careful. If black plays blindly to the right, white throws in. With 2 outside liberties, this is not ko. The swollen ox shape kills black's attacking stones, so black cannot play there. With 2 outside liberties, white's throw-in kills the attackers outright. This is not a ko. Although the 3 stones on the left have room, the 2 on the right are short of liberties. Black can block on the outside. This is a common blind spot. After starting a life and death sequence inside, players keep looking only inside. The key move is outside the eye space. It is easy to miss because players tend to keep every later move inside. Remember that most life and death problems are governed by liberties. A cutting point, tight liberties, or a solid first line leg should immediately make you count liberties. A first line solid leg almost always changes a liberty calculation. Count which chain gains the extra liberty. Then check which ataris, throw-ins, or no liberty moves have become possible. The solid leg is rarely decorative. Here, black presses against the cutting point. White cannot play on the no liberty point and cannot connect because of the snapback. If black extends, white dies, so white must throw in for ko. Black connects, producing a tight liberty ko. The snapback is what makes the ko work. If white captures, black captures back and white dies. This is a classic ko created by exploiting tight liberties and a snapback. That is why practical life and death matters. The two positions differ by only one outside stone, yet the result changes completely from unconditional death to ko. Solving a diagram is not enough if you cannot recognize the same mechanism in a real game. Life and death reading is training for practical play. The purpose of solving the diagram is recognition. If the same liberty mechanism appears on a full board and you do not see it, the exercise has not yet become usable skill. Standard problems use a closed space. There are fewer candidate moves, and the variations stay concentrated. That lets you test every candidate and prove both why the correct line works and why the others fail. A closed problem has two advantages. There are fewer possible first moves, and the replies stay concentrated in one local area. That makes exhaustive reading possible. For every candidate, prove why it works or identify the exact move that refutes it. This exhaustive reading builds calculation. A full board is harder because it is open and requires judgment and trade-offs. Closed life and death problems train the calculation you later apply in those open positions. Whole board reading is harder because the space is open and may require judgment or a trade-off. Closed problems build the calculation base. Now the lower left with white to play.